Hey everybody, Chris, John, and Steve from SUMURI here, and this is part 2 of our sequential processing series where we feature artifact timeline, so stay tuned.
All right, so we were having a discussion on RoboCop versus Rambo. So put your comments in below. Vote RoboCop or Rambo.
I feel like it's pretty easy. Stallone's old now.
Yeah, but we're going to get to the sequential processing and artifact timeline stuff in a second. But Rambo or RoboCop, comments below. So you can put in there, and then they're both in Mortal Kombat, right? You just saying now? Yeah. So I'm out of touch with games.
RoboCop's kind of OP though.
Oh, okay, got it. Cool. All right. So what are we here for?
We're here for artifact timeline.
Yeah. So was it part what?
Part 2.
Sweet.
Yeah.
All right, I'm glad I'm up to date.
Alrighty.
Part 2.
So, just hopping straight into it, how you access artifact timeline with RECON Lab is you go up to the top right here and this little calendar icon. Once you press that, you're in the artifact timeline interface.
Oh, did you tell them hints about FS events?
Oh, yeah. So, one of the really important things that you'd want to do is kind of take off FS events because it takes an obscene amount of time to load anything.
Yeah. So let's talk about what this is right here. So there's a lot of different timestamps that are actually covered in RECON Lab. More than just your POSIX timestamps. We kind of beat that to death. And then we talked about extended attributes. Yeah, if you haven't heard me by now, I don't know why not. Right? I'm sure you guys are like, not Steve again. But anyway, we've talked about POSIX timestamps, wrong timestamps we're looking at. That's based on Unix, Max based on Unix. But then we have extended attribute timestamps, which are built in, both POSIX and extended attributes, into RECON Lab. And yet, we have another thing for sequential processing. We talked about sequential processing before, which is the ability to actually look at events in sequence, which adds more context to the previous one, which is how people live and think and actually tell stories. So why not do your forensic ports that way? And in here, we have over 300 different supported artifact timestamps, and this is from artifact-specific plugins. So the different plugins that we actually parse inside the tool itself are listed here. You can turn them off and on. We have tons and tons of timestamps here. And again, it's going to help you tell the story. Now, these are the ones that we actually parse. But what I was trying to tell him and remind him at the beginning was the file system events is a huge artifact. It could be millions of entries. And it can be helpful in processing your stuff, but if you don't, you might want to start without that one first, especially if it's the millions of entries, and then add it later if you need to.
Yeah.
Unless you get paid by the hour.
Yes, and chorus included. Yes, and keep going.
So run through the interface real quick. As you can see, the first thing that you need to select is what artifacts you want to look through. So it's as simple as just clicking on whichever artifact you want, or you can actually drill down to specific ones and choose what you want to look for. So disk utility, you can look through devices, disk images, et cetera, et cetera. The big thing, if you want to look through like web browsers, and this is another helpful hint too, but like web browsers, cookies take an obscene amount of time to process because it saves everything.
It's like every time you reload, like you launch the instance of the web browser again, it'll just refresh the cookies.
Taking off cookies can save you a little bit of time. But so you can really just go through. You can pick every single artifact that you want. If you have a specific artifact, or you have a specific day that you think there was a lot of activity that happened, you can go, hey, I want to see all the web browser activity, or hey, I think this employee was saving like certain files and stuff with Dropbox. You can look through Dropbox, and then that leads straight into the timestamps, the timestamp list, where you can pick all the different timestamps that you want to look for. Steve already kind of mentioned a bunch of them with different POSIX timestamps, Apple extended metadata, which, like he said, he's beat to death. And then and the last thing that you need to do in order to get started is just kind of look through specific dates. So you can choose a start date and an end date, and you can look through if you know that there's a certain week or certain like day, or even down to like minutes and seconds. You can see all of the different events that have happened with your selected artifacts, and it's just as simple as hit and apply. And it'll go ahead and it'll pull everything it'll pull all of the artifacts that's supported with RECON Lab. So for our case, we know that there was a specific time. We're going to look at March of 2013 because there's a lot of good artifacts in here.
So what we were doing before in the two tabs up top, right, was looking at the graphical view, right? So you have a visual view to see what kind of thing. Each one of those colors represents a different artifact itself. So you can actually hover over them like he's doing now and actually see the number of artifacts in there to help you drill down to it.
So we're going to hop right in here. And you can see that this first column right here shows all of the timestamps that it's pulling and which type of timestamp it's pulling. So you can see all of these different events here have their own associated timestamps and different items. So you can see, where is it? You can run through like everything that was modified with your selected plugins and see exactly what events happened, and it really helps to paint a clearer picture of what went on the machine and how the suspect interacted with.
I see messages
Yes.
up top, right? So I think I see them searching for gun stuff, and then I see messages where they're talking about stuff. So something about when I see money, I start looking. Right.
Yeah. So when you're going through this interface, you can bookmark specific events that you think are of importance. And down here we've got different grip removals. We've got a guy looking for how you can avoid an audit. We can see all of these when Spotlight will automatically pull like when certain apps were opened and when they were interacted with by the user.
The nice thing about that Spotlight interface, can we open up the plugin thing a little bit more? Is it's actually if a person is using Spotlight to look for an application or something and you hit enter, that's what's being recorded. So that's an actual knowledge that someone directly opened that application or file.
Yeah. So the big thing that I was looking for was right around, it should be here.
What, TrueCrypt?
Yeah, TrueCrypt.
Yeah, it's right above there.
Ah, there it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so we can see that he was looking with different encryption software. He opened the terminal a bunch of times, and the other big thing was down here. Yeah, BitTorrent. And then right here, so we can see like Dropbox. So we can see that they opened Dropbox and that they were uploading a bunch of different files that, you know, in our case, we think that he probably shouldn't have been uploading.
Nefarious.
Yeah.
Evil.
Up to very nefarious
Bad.
actions. So, yeah, those are the big features with Artifact Timeline. You can export this in different formats. CSV and SQLite are supported ones, and then you can all of these different timestamps and records and everything. You can bookmark them, put them into your report, and then we'll talk about. I think next week we'll talk about read-find results, right?
Yeah. And just keep in mind, when you put things in this type of sequential processing order, it makes the story a little bit easier to understand, and it actually can change the outcome of your opinion about a case. And that's happened many times with what we have right here. This is why we build it in. It's very nice. I've actually worked with a couple different agencies, assisted, and once we put all the artifacts in this type of view, the story changes, because remember, the other way you're looking at it is just random bookmarking, random searches, and it's out of order, so you're not getting the same story. So it's kind of like we talked about before. It's like reading different chapters in a book out of order, or seeing a movie out of order. It's not going to make as much sense as if you actually put everything in order and see it that way. And it's very helpful. I would definitely recommend you guys trying it. And so a demo is easy to get. Just ask us, and you can have it.
You can send an email to myself, John, or Amy, or on our website too, on the RECON Lab's webpage. If you go down to the bottom, there's a form that you can fill out, and we're usually pretty good at getting those out. Either like within 24 hours is normally when we can get it out.
Cool.
So you can play with it as soon as you want, really. So
yep, sounds good. So remember, Robocop or Rambo, we need to know. And then what's the next part?
Redefine results.
Redefine results.
Yep.
Okay.
So.
Cool.
Thank you to everybody for watching, and make sure to check out the other two videos that we have. So updating your Recon ITR and the first part is sequential processing.
Cool.
So thank you guys again, and have a great day and stay safe.
See ya.